coming to you live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. I said yesterday, for better or worse, we would remember what happened down in Atlanta. Games 161 and 162 forever. And the way that game 161 panned out, it certainly will be cemented in our brains for the rest of our lifetimes, as this was as good and as fun and as crazy and as emotional as a baseball game as you could possibly get, especially in the regular season. Down 3-0. They're dying again offensively. Remind you of Friday and Saturday in Milwaukee. And then, boom, here they are in the 8th inning with an explosion. But, of course, they're going to cough it up. And then Francisco Lindor, bad back and all, hits one of the biggest, greatest, most memorable home runs in Mets history to take the lead, and then you got to hang on again with Edwin Diaz getting another opportunity. And here we are, wild card series against the Milwaukee Brewers. What an afternoon. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Amazing. I am amazing, just like all Met fans are amazing. And I have to tell you exactly, I knew where I was. I know what I was doing. I will never forget it for as long as I live. Because I was at the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Golf Tournament yesterday, as you know, up in Waikiki.
Yes.
And I have an eagle putt, and I'm watching as I'm getting ready to set up for this eagle putt on 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching Edwin Diaz implode, and I'm getting pissed. I'm getting really pissed. And I'm watching him just absolutely another hit, another walk, hit, whatever, all this stuff going on. And I'm looking at it, I'm getting mad, and I one-hand my putt, and I'm watching the putt goes in for an eagle. Thank you very much. I'll get to that a little bit later on in the show because I played with an amazing young man yesterday. So I put it in, and now I'm ticked. Now I get into the golf court. I got my phone out, and what am I doing? I'm just badgering Ron Darling.
Of course you are.
As it's going on.
Of course you are. Did he get back to you right away? Or
so much for Edwin being better after being used more. Who is the Mets' ninth? Who's coming in for the ninth inning now for the Mets? Do not bring Diaz out for the ninth. I don't give a crap who they bring out at this point. I'm so effing angry.
Wow.
And I'm so ticked off. Now, all of these texts came after the Lindor home run.
Okay.
All right. So so Lindor hits the home run. I'm giddy on the golf course. I'm trying to hide my giddiness, because I'm playing with guys I've just met.
Sure.
And they know what I do for a living, of course, and they know that I'm a Met fan. And it was an amazing moment. It truly was an amazing moment. And Francisco Lindor topped off his regular season in unbelievable fashion. I mean, this is like MVP kind of stuff. This is stuff that, legends are made of. These are games that we will always remember. You'll reflect back on this game when you're still here 20 years from now, and I'm in the ground probably 6 feet under.
All right. I mean, geez, let's not get too serious about this.
Well, what I'm saying is that we will remember this for our lifetime.
Yeah, in my lifetime.
Yes.
And it took a long time for Francisco Lindor to be beloved by all Mets fans, but it happened throughout the course of this year. You could not write a better story and a better season for this guy to be now one of the greats that has worn that uniform to put together this season. Have it be an MVP-esque season. He's going to lose out to someone who's doing stuff we have never seen before in the history of the game, but still, Francisco Lindor out there playing shortstop every day, leading this team. They were dead in the water.
He's been hurt the last.
Oh, you know what I mean. He's played most of the games where Shohei Ohtani is a DH. And to have that moment, so when you're watching a game on TV, you don't know right off the bat half the time. But so I was a little confused because when I see him hit it, I'm like, man, I feel like he got that. But then I looked at his face, and his face he was doing like this little I don't know, maybe I got under it thing. And then I'm watching it carry, and it was just amazing. But the second, though, that ball goes over the fence, you've got jubilation, you've got that. But then immediately you go, okay, well,
What
They
do we
got-
do?
they
What do we do?
gotta
What do
finish
we
out
do?
the game.
Right, exactly. We
So,
gotta get
what do
3
you
more
do?
outs.
Right, so I remember, because this day and age is all about social media, texting, being connected during the game. So I send my friends a group text. I'm like, "You're bringing Diaz back out?" Everybody, no.
We,
And
we all said no.
And I'm like, I'm not so sure that they're not thinking that they're going to send him back out there. Now, I didn't want him to go back out there either, I'll admit. But I thought that there was a real good chance that the Mets would, and they did. And, man, it was scary, but he got it done.
Well, then Mendoza had to go out and talk to him.
Yeah,
and then he had to talk Mendoza. So I'm staying in this. I got this S. I got this poop. I got this.
I got this poop.
Right, whatever.
Hey,
I got
Skip.
this. You know what?
I got this poop.
You created the poop, and the reason you created the poop is because you didn't cover goddamn first base.
Yeah, it's terrible.
When you should have been
Terrible.
covering first base. And I mean, that's the thing that really bothers me. I know he's on a ledge, and he has been on a ledge for a lot of the time that he has been here, except for a couple of years ago. But I just not covering first base. I even said to Jerry, I'm texting Jerry and Ron Darling at the same time. I didn't want
Why
to
are you
text
bothering all these people?
I don't know. 'Cause
Leave them alone.
I needed to get it off my chest.
Yeah.
I needed.
Why Jerry then after Ron
Well,
Darling?
Jerry's like, "Are you watching this?" Of
so
course.
So Jerry reached out to you
And,
first.
I
Okay.
said, "Yeah, it's nuts."
Yeah.
And then I like, "Diaz stinks. You ain't kidding. Who's pitching for the ninth in the Mets?" I ask. He goes, "I don't know." But damn, Lindor, he says back to me, I think he's going to let Diaz start the ninth. He's got Stanek getting loose now. Diaz does not deserve to be on that field. That's how I felt. This is how intense I was at this charity golf tournament yesterday, like a psychotic human being. But it was, I'll tell you, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I was a little kid again. I really literally was a little kid again.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain times that come around in your sports fandom when you're an older sports fan, you've seen it all. And there's just like that type of day, that type of moment, and this was one of those moments. I felt great. My mom raised me as a Mets fan. I called her right away after the game, and she was basically out of breath because she was walking back and forth.
I'm right there in her age group.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. I remember calling her, and I'm not trying to get into a discussion about this, but I remember calling her during the last couple outs of the Johan Santana no-hitter.
Oh,
I don't want to get into it. My point being,
Yes, okay. All right.
My point being that there's moments that come along
Yes.
that you get on the phone with your family, you text. Like this was one of those days, and I firmly believe this, and I know some Met fans, and maybe most of them, disagree, but this season provided an incredible amount of unexpected entertainment, and I want them to go out there and I want them to play great against Milwaukee, and if they die, I'm going to be upset. If they get swept in 2 games and it's just a nothing series, I'm going to be upset, but my Lord, like what day from 11 games under 500 to yesterday?
I think I saw somebody write from 0-5 to oh my God.
Well, that was Gary Cohen's call on TV.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that was Gary Cohen's
Right.
final out call on SNY. So
Good for Gary. Both he and Howie. I heard the calls obviously, and listening last night and catching up on X and listening to all the posts from the Met fans and everything else. Both guys did an amazing job. They both did an amazing job. And we're lucky. We're lucky as Met fans. We got great broadcasters that we get to listen to. That top of the 8th, nothing's going on. All of a sudden, 10 batters for the Mets. And by the way, the unsung, I don't know, they're all certain amount of heroism goes to different players for different reasons on the field. But kind of like the unsung guy is Starling Marte.
Yeah, I mean, certainly.
And then also Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 guys have really helped that lineup when they've been clicking on all cylinders. And it'll be interesting to see the lineup today and who that other outfielder is going to be and how Carlos Mendoza handles it. But, yeah, I mean, I think all you want, too, is as a sports fan, is you want your team to care. You want them to want to win as much as you want to win. You don't always get that in pro sports these days. But with this particular group, I mean, the emotion that they had. So I don't know if you're familiar with Ethan Wilson. Do you know Ethan Wilson? He's worked in Mets PR under Jay Horowitz for a very long time. So Eddie knows Ethan Wilson. So Ethan's been with this team. He is an all-time great dude. He had worked with Jay for many years. So I'm watching the game, watching the celebration after the game, and I see, like, just in the back of the camera, Ethan Wilson walking by, and he's emotional. He's like, there's, you could tell he's been crying.
Oh, God.
And I'm like,
I mean, if the PR guy's crying,
I'm like,
are these guys going
wow!
to be like, did they think that their season's over now?
no, but it was just that, like, the hell that organization, but he's been there forever. Like, think about the gazillion things that have gone on that have been bad and been negative, and we've sat here and talked about it. This is a Mets thing, only the Mets. Can you believe it? This is a Mets thing. So, like, he probably didn't expect it or want to cry. It just sort of came out of him yesterday because they're down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're choking the game away. They come back, they choke it away again, and they come back and win. My God.
You know, they should have swept them. That would have been even sweeter. And
Yeah.
knock them completely
Well, I told
out
you
of
they came to an
playoffs.
agreement before the game. You know, we'll play the first one out, and then whoever wins the first one, we'll mail it in for you. You can make the playoffs. That's why they celebrated on the field together after the game.
How about the Braves, making you think that Sale was going to pitch?
Yeah, I know. The
They
back spasms.
playing that whole game, and, Snitker knew that he was going to pitch. But the other thing that really irks the crap out of me.
Why are you irked right now? What are we irking? Why are we being irked?
I'm irked because
you just said the lifetime happiness. I felt like a little kid. Now we're back to being irked.
But I'm also irked.
Why are we irking?
A lot of people don't use that word irk.
Well, yeah, but you shouldn't be using it. Today's not an irk day.
I'm sick and tired of giving up stolen bases.
Well,
holy Christ! Can we just keep a guy on first base now?
Buckle up, man.
You, buckle up is right.
Because,
you know why? Because the Milwaukee Brewers remind me of the 2015 Kansas City Royals. They're going to run the Mets out of the building if they don't start keeping guys, holding guys on base.
Got to do a better job. Yes, you're right.
I mean, what is
Can't
Edwin
argue that.
Diaz doing?
Right.
Is your brain like, I know you want to get the batter.
Mm-hmm.
Because the closer mentality, batter.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the guy on the base.
Mm-hmm.
He let the guy steal second.
Yeah.
The tying run is in scoring position.
So why are you pooping on this great
Why
Mets
did you
victory?
shut up? Because you know what? I want them to continue to win.
Yeah.
And, guys like Lindor and Marte, like now all of a sudden he's getting involved. These guys, they deserve to go on. They deserve to keep moving on. Now, I'm sure the Milwaukee Brewer fans are saying the same thing. They're in love with their team. We love our team. We love where they got.
I don't know how much they're in love with their team.
I am like, wait a minute. You got to stop letting bases being stolen.
They're so much in love with their team. I heard Jerry look up this morning. You can get into the building for $11 tonight if you'd like. So I don't know how much they're in love with their team compared to, because, they really don't do much in the postseason. So
I listen, this, it was amazing. It was amazing.
All right, we're back.
But I'm irked by just the lack of attention to detail in the big moments. And that's why Mendoza goes out there. Hey, dude, can we pay attention to the guy on the base?
Sure. Yeah, I know. But it worked out. He was able to get the necessary outs, and you're good. And the fact it was Travis d'Arnaud.
By the way, first of all, it was Kelenic that hits the ball to Alonso. I'm like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I know. So
Kelenic. He was in a trade for them.
Right, I know. Edwin Diaz, Jared Kelenic. Obviously, we remember the Brody Van Wagenen deal with Robinson Cano.
Yes.
And then, of course, to end the game, you've got Travis d'Arnaud up there. I'm like, this just can't. This can't happen.
Right, exactly.
It just can't. And it didn't. For once, it didn't. And it's one of those you have to see it to believe it.
What?
And Travis d'Arnaud is going to ground out to short to send the Mets to the postseason, and it happened, man.
Now, I'll tell you one thing. They come back and win today, that would be something. Because that's a lot of emotion yesterday. Maybe the second game of the doubleheader was a throwaway, but it was a lot of emotion yesterday, and it'll be interesting to see how they play today. Hopefully they're on this high, and they're going to continue to play this way, and maybe, just maybe, Alonso will do something offensively.
Yeah, I mean,
and he made a great play defensively, and Edwin Diaz is not covering first base. I want to pull my hair out. What are you doing? Get your head out of your ass and get over there.
Yeah, you know what? If I were someone who were close to Pete Alonso, and obviously he wants the Mets to win, he cares about his team, but you can erase most of your mediocre regular season by having a massive postseason when you're going into a contract year. Like, if he has a massive postseason,
he has to be Daniel Murphy.
Right. Then nobody's going to remember how bad he was in the regular season. So you still got your opportunity. Now, I'm sort of not believing that it's going to happen. I've seen just such stagnant play from him, just these uninspired at-bats for months and months that I don't think he's going to flip the switch, but it would be nice.
Well, the good news, it hasn't affected his defense. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he made that was a hell of a play he made yesterday, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. I don't know if Kelenic would have been out or not, but that there is nothing more
We'll never know.
frustrating. There's nothing more
Edwin Diaz
frustrating.
made sure that we'll never know.
I mean, it's one thing to give, and I was saying to the group that it's one thing to give up a hit. It's another thing like to walk somebody, have a guy just go steal second base, and then not cover your position. Like that is like there's so many things that happened that he screwed up, and yet still won, thankfully, to Francisco Lindor, and it was able to navigate the ninth inning. It's amazing how hard it is to get 3 goddamn outs. It's ridiculous. I don't know why it should be so hard.
And your entire season on the line too just makes it even more crazy.
It was.
I mean, so Edwin Diaz this year is a little bit of his worst year and a little bit of his best year.
He's a little bit of both. Yeah, but yesterday was like all the worst things. Yeah. Not covering, letting people steal, walking.
But it didn't.
Guys.
But it didn't cost him, and he came out. He got right. He came out.
It didn't cost him.
It didn't cost him in the losing the game. So obviously it cost them, but they still won.
We won. That's all that matters. On to Milwaukee.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised.
And then they got to play today, like less than 24 hours later.
Perfect for us. That's the way I look at it. Because it's all about us.
It is perfect for us.
5:32, right?
Are they having another watch party?
I don't think so.
No,
I did see some of that stuff. I think it went well. It was them and like 4 salespeople that were kind of hanging out. They got their tacos, and they had a good time. I checked in on that broadcast a little bit, but it's so far behind. Like when you listen on the app, it's behind the game. So
them and Chris Russo, like telling you what's going on.
Yeah, I know. Yep, but Evan took his pants off.
Great. Why did he take his pants off?
I don't know. Because he thought that was...
he took his pants off. What do you have under his pants? Underpants?
He had Mets boxer shorts on. So, I mean, I was thinking, too, you're at your place of work. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could very easily file a complaint with HR if you're taking your pants off at work. You can't just walk around in your underpants.
See, this is part of the lack of professionalism around here.
I mean, I can't disagree.
People taking their jobs for granted.
Yeah, you know what they're taking? Liberties. I don't like that.
You don't like that? I don't like that.
You know what? Keep your pants on like a man, like a pro.
Well, like a man?
But yeah, he had a great time. Actually, listen, I felt good for him. I got to say, as weird as he is and as much as he makes my skin crawl most of the time, I felt good for him.
You know how we were watching the Knicks in the playoffs?
Yeah.
That's what yesterday felt like.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It felt like watching the Rangers in the playoffs. Like, this is why if you're a Jet or a Giant, more so a Jet because they're built to win right now with their current roster, like you see how the fans react to this. You got to get a piece of it somehow, some way. You got to get a piece of this.
Catch a piece.
The Jets have got to make the playoffs.
That should be the new slogan at Florham Park because Rob Sala loves golf so much too. Catch a piece.
Catch a piece, man.
catch a piece of this. All right, it is Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.